Cloud.
So on this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, money lessons from TikTok. So welcome back to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Sean Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, and I've got back with me your financial coach, George Curbelo. How you doing, George?
Hey, we're here remotely, but so much fun. I am so ready, my friend. From spending challenges, I got to say, saving money for a house is motivation, but it's still not easy, But we're working through, man. I'm excited, dude. We're doing a walkthrough in the house, for like before they put the drywalls up the 18th. So it's two Mondays from now. So very, very excited about that because it now becomes real. You know what I mean? That it was one of those kind of things that was like, it's like something that's like in our imagination, and now it's like, oh, there it is. It's actually
right.
Up.
So it's the bare bones. In other words, it's the studs and whatnot right now.
Exactly. Studs. I think they did electrical work. They did running for the plumbing. So it's really more of just, well, not electrical work. Well, for the garage, that kind of thing.
Right.
But now it's really more of getting some of the other stuff in the background taken care of before they put like we want to make sure, hey, did we get this right before we put the walls up? So very excited about that.
Nice. And so how's the saving challenge going?
Again, we're trying to get to like that kind of $20,000 mark. So very aggressive in regards to 1,000 to 1,500 a month. So it's and that's, I feel like that's still low, but that's with the brink and what we're trying to do with all the money from a budget standpoint. But of course, hey guys, life happens. My daughter, she has college, and we have to like, oh, by the way, we have to also make sure we can pay for her rent. Dorming and renting. That might be important, but yeah.
It would probably be easier to study if she had a place to sleep at night.
Yeah, good idea.
So we went out this past weekend, my wife and I, did Labor Day sales.
Oh, of course.
And we have Thanksgiving coming up, and my wife has been talking for years and years and years. So we have a dining room table, but it is the dining room table that I got from my parents as a gift for my college graduation. So this dining room table, as we record this dining room table is getting close to 30 years old.
Okay.
So it was time. It was time to get a new dining room table. And so we did. We went out, we researched a couple of them. We looked on the internet. We went to a couple of shops. We found one that we liked. They were offering 0% interest over 12 months. So gave them a little bit of a down payment. The remainder of it, I'll end up paying like $100 a month for the next year. And we go from a table that with a leaf in it sits 4 comfortably and 6 uncomfortably. We now went to a table that will sit with 2 leaves in it, 8 comfortably, and 10 or 12 uncomfortably. So we got a bigger kitchen table coming probably by the end of the month. So that was our big that was our reward for doing as well as we did the last couple months in terms of revenue and spending and all. Plus with Thanksgiving coming up and Labor Day sales, and took advantage of the whole 9 yards. And it was actually kind of funny. I was not really negotiating, but I ended up negotiating with the sales lady.
Okay.
Because we were looking at 2 tables, and each table came with 4 chairs. And so we bought 2 extra chairs. But the bigger table was a cheaper package. The shorter table was a more expensive package. Or no. Yeah. So I ended up, saying, well, wait a minute, if we get this table and it's cheaper, but you're charging us more than if we got that table. And I was basically confusing them with Common Core math. And
they were like, what?
We'll give it to you. Ended up getting a little bit like a $100, $200 discount on the whole thing. So
that's good. That's good. Well, hey, when we talk about discounts in today's topic, you're going to be astonished with some of the things you actually did. And if we use some of the principles we don't want to learn, we just want to hear, you're going to be floored in regards to some of the things that you actually accomplished as part
Yeah.
of this
So,
transaction. So I'm teasing here because I'm very excited about today's topic.
well, and yeah, and so, normally we do a lot of discussion about what are we going to talk about and what are we going to say, and I can do some background research on my computer. You didn't let me do that this time, so I'm going in totally cold. Now, before I do that, we
Yes,
have we have been teasing something for a couple of weeks, but I think we can talk about it now.
absolutely.
So, over the last couple of weeks, we have been talking to a company called Magic Mind. And so Magic Mind produced um, I wouldn't call it an energy drink, but it's a drink that they sent us a sample, and
Yep.
you and I both took it for a couple of weeks, both had drank it for a couple of weeks. It comes in a little, I guess it would be a competitor to like 5 Hour Energy or
Yeah.
something like that. It'd be one of those types of drinks. But
It's like your
I
shot.
got
It feels like it's a little shot bottle kind of look like, but that's what it looks like.
yeah,
Yep.
a little shot. It is, organically produced. It's all natural ingredients. I tried it out and I really liked it.
Yep.
It helped me focus throughout the day. I didn't get any kind of energy crash from taking it. I didn't get a spike or a crash. I've talked about this before on the show. I'm a diabetic. It didn't really impact my sugar at all.
Good.
Um, I really liked it, and so Magic Mind was kind enough to send us a couple of bucks in exchange for us trying out their focus drink, and they gave our listeners a code. So if any of our listeners want to go online and order some Magic Mind, before I get there, I know I gave you some of them as well. What'd you
Yeah.
think of it?
No, I got to say the one thing that I got to say is, when in the morning, I feel like I'm a morning person, but I need something to kind of stabilize, get me through the day itself. I'm always on calls, always having conversation. And you're probably, yeah, obviously as a lawyer, you're in that same boat itself. You need something that sustains you through the day. And I'm always skeptic about like, is this going to work? Is this really going to, and for me, is it going to taste good? And so for me,
Yeah,
surprisingly, the taste is there, the flavor is there, and what you're looking for is that boost. And again, I don't want to feel the jitters or any of that crash. You're right. That's the big thing with a lot of drinks you may take. It's kind of like, it gives you that, okay, I'm good for like an hour or two. And then, I'm like, okay, good night. It's 2 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm done.
right.
So I think for me, it was really more of, a combination of taste and flavor, to the point where it's like, okay, I feel much more focused. I agree with you there. And it kind of sustained throughout the day when I needed it to be on point for my job itself. So I totally agree with you there. And I would say it definitely would recommend at least trying it out. I mean, I think,
Yeah.
everybody's, kind of, is it the right thing for me? I would say definitely it's a good try to see if it's something that will, be able to add to people's everyday.
So one of the things you reminded me of, it actually says in the instructions, you can take it with your coffee. And so I would have my only cup of coffee in the morning, and then as
Right.
soon as I was done, I would take it would take, I sipped it slowly. I guess you could shoot it if you wanted to. I sipped it. I took
I'm a shooter, buddy.
Yeah, I took two or three sips to get it down. I kind of enjoyed it, but what I noticed was it didn't make me jittery. So even though I had the
Yeah.
caffeine from the coffee and then I had the Magic Mind shot, it didn't really make me it didn't make me jittery at all. It allowed me to focus throughout the day. So for those of you, they do have either you can do a one-time purchase or you can sign up for a subscription. Well, they'll send you replacements
Nice options.
monthly.
Yeah.
Obviously, the subscription's a little cheaper than the one-time purchase, but if you go to magicmind.com/crush debt, and then you put in whatever your order is, a subscription model or one-time purchase, and then use the code crush debt. CHRUS. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. CRUSHDEBT. Crush debt. if you put that code in, it'll give you a little bit of a discount there as well, and you will be supporting us. And yeah, I appreciate the support from Magic Mind, but had we not liked it, we would have told them thank you, but no thank you. So
Exactly.
yeah, so we both tried it, we both like it, and I think I've got another order on the way. So anyway, assuming we continue to talk about them, it won't be as long in future episodes. But
Yes.
I did want to give you all that little introduction about Magic Mind. You'll be hearing from them again on future episodes, as well as I think we've got some old sponsors that may be coming back in future episodes. None of which compete with Magic Mind. So so we will talk about that. But
Sounds
meanwhile,
good.
after all of that, what do you got for me, George? I'm kind of scared.
All right, brother. So I was, doing some responsible TikToking yesterday. So, came across just interesting topics out there. You always, again, trying to see what's out there from advice, from a financial advisory, and just people about spending money. And this topic came across my feed, and it was an interesting one. And I was like, so Sean, have you heard of girl math? any
I
type of any type of and again, I hate the title. I'm not a big fan of the title itself, but I wanted to get your feel on what do you think girl math would entail.
I have absolutely no idea. I have never heard of it, and I am scared of the title as well.
So here's the thing. So it's for I look at it as an opportunity for people to kind of justify purchases, but and again, there were a bunch of women who were explaining what girl math is, but it's basically some logic that's put together to basically say, hey, if there's certain scenarios, spending money technically doesn't count, or it's a different mindset to kind of think about when it comes to spending money. So for me, I'm just going to go into some of the principles, and what I'm looking for from you is just getting your take. And
Okay.
what would be some of our advice as a financial coach and bankruptcy lawyer to say, are these really good principles to be living by when it comes to making money and spending money? So that's where I
Okay.
want to preface there. Okay, so there's
Sure.
nothing to worry about. It's not going to hurt. We may have some fun and make and laugh a little bit, but I think that's something we want to do as part of the show. All
Got
right,
it.
so right away, the first principle. Now, again, some of the actual clips, or the feeds and one of them was 2.3 million likes. So this is not something that was not seen. There was millions of views on this thing. Another one was around 76,000 views and likes. So just again, I'm prefacing that this is being viewed by quite a few people.
Although that in and of itself is kind of scary.
Scary indeed. The first principle, okay, of this girl math itself is that anything under $5. How much do you think it costs there, Sean? Anything under $5. It's not a trick
Anything,
question.
well, anything under $5 would be anything $1, $2, $4.
You would think that would but no, the first principle is that anything under $5 is free. Does not count. Okay, is free. Okay, and for our folks who are watching the video, this is exactly, you're going to start to see Sean. I wish you can see, you can't even hear, but Sean, you have to visualize your
My
your facial
my
expressions.
my brain is I wish I had some magic mind in me right now so I could try to comprehend
We
this.
might need some shots there.
So
Anything.
there is the store Five Below, so I could just walk
So
into
it's just
Five
walk in and
Below,
take it out because technically
take it and
it's
leave,
free.
and it's free.
Okay, yeah, you're getting the lot dollars, but you don't go, you don't shop there. Anything
Right.
bought with a gift card. How much is anything bought with a gift card?
Well, I would assume anything bought with a gift card is free.
Exactly, it is free, but technically, and again, if you're given the gift card itself, I can guess that it's free because technically you didn't put money into it. But the
Right.
thought process is, regardless of who purchases the gift card, if you buy a gift card, it's free.
So I could go out, buy myself a gift card, and then using that gift card means whatever I bought was free.
Exactly.
What about the money I used to buy the gift card?
Stop. You're already over. No, you're
So
not.
wait a
No,
minute.
no.
What if I buy 100 $5 gift cards? Am I double free now?
Okay, now you're going to see. Now you're thinking. You're actually thinking. That's pretty good. I like that. All right.
Okay.
If I buy again, here's a good. If I buy something and return it, I have made money.
Huh? What?
If I
How?
buy something and I return it, I have made money. So you buy a $60 pair of shorts. I don't, not liking it, but I return it. The money that's given back to me, I've made money.
Well, so the only way that that makes sense is if, in other words, what you're saying is instead of paying the money to rent it, I got to rent it for free.
That's one way to look at it. I would say if I keep going into the principles, I don't think that logic. Again, you're using way too much logic. I believe in this.
So,
I appreciate
although
I appreciate the smoke coming out of the brain here.
I remember when we got married, we had another friend of ours who got married right around the same time that my wife and I got married. And I remember what they did was they went and they registered at Bed Bath and Beyond. And so what they did was they went everything they got from Bed Bath and Beyond, they returned. They didn't open it. They returned it all. And then they went and they got gift cards and store credit and whatever. And then they went back to Bed Bath and Beyond and bought it again using all the 20% off coupons that Bed Bath and Beyond sends
Okay.
you. So when they returned it, they got full price for the return. And then when they bought it back, they bought it at a 20%
At the
discount.
20% discount. Okay.
So they ended up getting about 20% more money to spend at Bed Bath and Beyond on stuff that they registered for that they never received.
Okay.
That
Again,
I thought that was brilliant.
that's genius. So, but again, that is the value of the money spent. So again, you're headed in the right direction. I think you're getting some of this girl math down already. It's pretty good. Pretty
Good
intense.
Lord.
So here's the thing: if you go to an event or concert that you've paid for months ago, so let's say a trip, anything like that you've paid for, long ago, you don't remember it. It technically it doesn't count, and this concert is free. Or this trip is free. If I'm just gonna keep rolling because these are great. I mean, it's amazing. We can justify any type of purchase, any type of discussion itself.
So that's what this is all about. It's all about justifying the purchase.
I'm telling you, that's what you're gonna hear this over and over. If I load, let's say that you can load a Starbucks app or Amazon app or anything like that if in advance. So you load it, you put money into it. If I buy things off of that app, it's free.
I mean, I guess I understand. Maybe I'm getting dumber as you go into these things, but I mean, I guess if the money's already budgeted to something.
No. Don't. You're already. Don't go there. Like that's exactly
Okay.
where I was headed as well. And I want to stop you because budgeting and stuff like that has nothing to do with any of these principles, my friend. It's just putting things together. I'm telling you. Let me continue. Anything discounted more than 50% is free, and it feels like they're losing money if it's not purchased.
Whoa. I mean, if something is so I went the other day.
It ain't free.
Well, it's not free, but I went the other day and the coffee that I like was on a BOGO sale. So from that perspective, I got 50% off because I got two for the price of one.
Yes.
So, but it's still I had to actually, the money actually came out of my bank account.
Yeah. But again, in those instances, technically it's free.
And you're losing money if you don't buy it. That's what got me. How do you lose?
Indeed.
I would rather keep the money in my bank account if it's not something I'm ever going to use.
Yeah, but you're not understanding this math, my friend. That's the problem that you're having here. You're still trying to use your budgeting techniques. I appreciate you though. I appreciate you trying. I love that.
Is this so? Not to say not to sound ageist, but are these all millennials doing
These are
this?
younger folks, I would say, but I did see a few of our 40-year-olds. So I did see, was it Gen X? No, Gen Z would be. So I did see some. It was a mix, unfortunately.
Lord,
It's
you know, I could embrace this. You know how many bankruptcy clients I would get if I became
exactly.
the
Follow this speed, please.
follow these steps and you will become my client.
It would be
Okay, what's next?
if I go shopping, okay, and I don't buy anything, I just doubled my budget.
Oh, although
Again, that's
although
assuming you have money set aside for that category or that shopping.
now that was kind of the basis for our no spend challenge, but I actually had to take the money and move it
Correct.
somewhere else.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that was kind of the foundation of our no spend challenge.
Yes, I would. That one I'm not so, but it just means you spend more the next day. It doesn't mean you've used it for saving or anything like that. It just means I technically have more money to. I mean, technically you do have more money
I
to
guess.
spend,
So
but
if I give myself a budget of $100 today and I don't spend $100 today, I could spend $200 tomorrow, or I could only spend $100 tomorrow and still have $100 in savings.
so here's the logic. So if I don't buy something for $60, right? If I have $60, if I don't buy something, I have made money. So I can spend more somewhere else. Technically,
Okay.
yes, but it's one of those kind of things. Okay, let me if I pay someone, if someone pays you, I would say through Venmo, right?
Right.
Um, or I'm paying someone through Venmo itself. If there's money in the account, the transaction is free.
What?
So if I had PayPal or Venmo or Zelle, if there's money, because you sometimes can have money in the account, like you by mistake, there's money there, or you've forgot about money in that. But if I pay someone from that money itself, technically the transaction's free.
I mean, I guess if it's found money, I guess I kind of get it, but
This one's always fun. It's like if my partner pays for something, it is free, which kind of
well, so I did go to lunch yesterday with another attorney friend of mine, and that attorney paid. So in that sense, my lunch
it
was
is free.
free.
I would agree. If you do that a lot, you're either not going to have a lot of friends eventually because you're taking advantage of folks. But I would agree. Technically, that one you get a pass. I get that one as
Right.
well. So here's funny. Whew, this one got me a little nervous, man. Cash is not real money. So if I buy something with cash, it's free.
I do. I have no idea.
I had not that one. I heard that a few times, and I'm like, wow, okay. Like cash.
I mean,
I thought
I,
cash was king, but now cash is no. In
free.
another take, cash was monopoly money.
I mean,
That
I
was
guess, you know, there's been times where I've gone to the grocery store to buy something, and I have cash in my wallet, and I'm like, do I want to use the cash in my wallet, which saves the money in my
in your
debit
account.
card in my checking account,
Yep,
or do I want to spend the money in my checking account and keep more money in my wallet? But it's all you're talking about moving from one bucket to another.
you got
What difference does
paid,
it make?
and whether it's a cash in your wallet or cash in your, it's still from the work that you did, the paycheck you made, and that money is still coming from the same budget. So
Right.
I agree with you there. But we're now, and I get it. Cash is paper. It's the value that we put into this when we talk about how we buy things. But to just make it like automatically like, oh no, it's not real, so it's got to be free. That connection I just don't get.
Can I make one up?
Yeah, go for it. You're probably getting
If
the
you,
idea.
yeah, if you support the Crushing Debt podcast by making a contribution on Patreon, it's free.
Under $5, it's free. I like it. I like it.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Okay, here's another one. Again, there's a few here. Obviously buying nice things is an investment. I kind of agree. If you buy quality, it's an investment, but it's an investment in yourself. So
Right.
that's a going to the gym, doing certain things like that was an investment. Although one of the comments I'll give you, it was funny as heck. Being yelled at the gym is cheaper than therapy.
I that's probably true.
It's probably true. Like, your trainer or your spin class instructor yelling at you is probably a lot cheaper than going to therapy every other week. So but again,
I've got to
okay. Okay.
I gotta go on my computer and check this out. I'm sorry.
It will, I'm telling you, you will get lost. If I buy a $300 bag, okay, and I use it each day for 365 days, technically it's free.
It's like it's like they're it's like they're not considering the original cost.
None. You could tell that it's just justification of the spending itself, and it's really more of you're right. It's a lack of, well, you need to make the money. The money has to come from somewhere. And in some instances, if it's a gift card, if it's something that's been given, or if it's cash that's been given to you, I can give with the whole, if it's cash in my wallet, technically it's not free. You're just, the money is there. It's not coming out of the budget if you want to go that route. But none of the folks really emphasize spending plans or budgets. So I was like, okay, this one's, it's not that like, oh, the mindset is it's in my wallet, it's already accounted for. It's more of like, no, if it's in my wallet, dude, it's free. I just pay for it. We're good. But that was the $300, again, justification, where it's like, well, bed sheets, you buy really expensive bed sheets, $600. Let's assume 600. I was like, wow, there was examples of that. How long do you use bed sheets for? How long do you keep them for?
I I I mean, I'm a guy, so I keep them pretty much forever until they
For
start to
few
rip and
years.
tear. Yeah.
Exactly. So because you use them for X amount of years, and you pay the 600, let's say $600, the justification that I was here, I can't even do the math because, again, I'm not skilled in this calculus. Technically, you're making money because if you bought the materials and did the weaving and the sewing and everything that was needed to make those materials, to make those $600 that you're purchasing, it would cost you more, the $600. But technically, since you're going to use them for 3 years and stuff like that, and it averages out to like $1 a day, technically it's free.
Or, well, because it's under $5. But I mean,
Exactly.
I guess it kind of makes sense in that, or maybe you're just frying my brain.
I'm
But
frying your brain, brother.
it makes sense in terms of, if I'm going to buy $600 sheets, and let's say I were to
That's
replace my sheets every 2 years.
right.
Well, if I keep those sheets for 10 years, now I've saved myself $600 every 2 years.
Right.
But again, as we learned in the no spend challenge, if I just let that money get wrapped up in another budgetary item, I really haven't saved anything.
There's no
Although,
saving. Correct.
although the only thing that kind of struck me that kind of makes a little bit of sense, if you are a business owner and you have any kind of personal property or even real property, you can depreciate those assets. And so, from a perspective of, I'm depreciating the assets, I'm eliminating the value of the asset, I'm getting a savings on my tax return for the value of the asset that's been depreciated. I guess from that sense, you could kind of
But could you do that with bed
logistically,
sheets?
well, I don't use bed sheets at my office. I'm not that kind of business.
That kind of business. And so, but
If I were that,
that's the logic I think people are going with. It's over time, the value, the amount of money you spend at that point, over time itself, it will justify the purchase you're making. So if I spend $600 on a bag today, well, because I'm using that bag for everyday use, and it's going to be used itself, that value itself is still there in the
well,
product. So it's a
dude,
justified purchase.
if that's the case, I got a free Rolex.
Exactly.
That thing is, I've had that thing for, gosh, I don't even know how long. I've had that thing almost 20 years.
Yes,
So I
but
guess my Rolex was free.
it was free. from a purchase perspective.
I mean, so interestingly, there's been times where I've sat back when money was a little tight.
Yep,
I always seem to be of the mindset that when I needed the money, I found a way to get the money.
of course.
And so one of my mindsets was, well, so for example, I didn't buy that outdoor TV.
Right,
But if I had, I probably would still be in the same financial position I'm in today.
right,
So from that perspective, I guess you could analogize and say the TV would have been free
right.
had I decided. In other words, when the purchase gets so far in the past that it's a memory, from that perspective, it kind of feels free. But
It
I
feels
don't
free,
know.
and that's the problem. I have a video game collection as well. I mean, I purchased those video games probably 15 years ago. So if I resell them now, it feels like I'm making money. But if I look at like how much did I spend, 10 years ago to what I'm getting today, is it free? I mean, is the purchase free? No, the money was already spent. You're right. It's just in the past. I don't remember the amount of money or the feeling I had back then, but it still didn't make it a free purchase because I had the product for 20 years. But that's the logic. We're not talking about, things that are, and I get it. Maybe we're not talking years. We're talking weeks and months in regards to some of the purchases and what we're trying to justify in our head in regards to that spending. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's fascinating.
you're making my brain hurt.
Well, here's two more. I wanted to might as well just make it fried egg here. So if
Right.
something is $200, how much? Well, no, I'm sorry. If something is $299, how much is it?
Well, we said
According to Girl Math,
if it's under 5, it's free. So if it's 299, it
two
must
hundred and ninety
also
nine. Two hundred
right.
and 99. I'll give you
So
that.
anything under $5 is free. Anything you keep for a long period of time is free.
Hmm.
So if it's 299 and you keep it for a long time, you must be making money.
So making money is one thing. No, but this one was just a quick math. If something is $299, technically it's $200.
No, technically it's actually 299 plus sales tax.
Plus tax, so
Technically.
it's 300. Yeah, again, the brain started hurting by the time I got to this portion because I was already down the rabbit hole and I was like, what is happening? My brain was melting, my eyes were watery, I was crying, and I was asking for my wife to take away the phone. I was like, get this thing away from me because I can't. No, it's just this is it's not it's not possible. It's not possible.
I don't my brain hurts.
One more.
Oh,
This
I
one,
don't
this
know if I
one,
can take it.
the creme de la creme. All right, so
Okay.
let's say you plan a trip or dinner with friends,
Right.
okay? And you guys split everything. That is called budgeting. I'm not laughing, but I'm laughing. Okay? And again, maybe as women or guys, it's so if you get free drinks and food, right? In this type of trip or dinner, you've made money. Technically, you've made money because you've gotten free drinks, and that
I mean, I
means you
get.
have no, wait. That means though that you have more money that you can spend somewhere else.
Oh, good God.
You can't write this stuff.
I uh, so I am now on the train. I am a huge supporter. I think everyone should embrace this. I think everyone should abide by these concepts and principles. Everybody should strictly follow them, especially if you live in the Tampa Bay area and would qualify for a bankruptcy 5 years down the road, 2 years down the road, 1 year down the road, and then everything for me will be free because I will be making a boatload of money off of people using these concepts.
What's the I mean, other than it made our brain and our logical part of our brain hurt a little bit, what are some of the issues you're seeing in the logic that we have here?
Where do I begin? I mean, from a from a in my bankruptcy practice, I see people all the time that don't that don't have a concept of money. And so
Yeah,
to say something that's 299 is really 200, where did the other $99 go?
right. Exactly.
It had to go, it's not in your account anymore.
Coming
And
somewhere.
and there'll be plenty of times where I say to people, either way. So one of the questions I ask in a bankruptcy consultation is, if you didn't have to make minimum payments on your credit cards at the end of the month, how much money would you have left over?
Right.
And I'm basically trying to get a baseline of, are they spending more than they're making? Are they breaking even? Are they just bad at budgeting? What's going on? And so there are plenty of times where I'll say to someone at the end of the month, if you didn't have to make minimum payments on your credit cards, how much would you have at the end of the month? I had this happen the other day. The lady said to me $500.
Okay.
Now, when we actually went through her budget, it was $1,500.
Nice. Okay.
So she had 1,500 where she only thought she had 500. And when I showed her that and showed her what her bankruptcy plan would cost, she was ecstatic because she could clearly afford it.
Right.
Then there's the other way. There's how much do you have in your, at the end of the month, after, if you didn't have to pay your unsecured creditors, you didn't have to pay your credit cards. And it goes the other way. There's like 1,500. And when we actually do their budget, there's $500 left at the end of the month. And I'll say, you only have 500. Well, I don't, there's an industry out there now. There's all these apps out there now that will go through and cancel subscriptions that you don't use.
Right.
But I guess if all these subscriptions are less than $5 a day, they're free. But it's actual money coming out of your
It's
bank
money.
account.
And I
That's
think that's the problem, is that concept that, money is just is ones and zeros seems to put people in a position where they're detaching themselves from the reality of, what they need to save, they budget, they spend. And for me, it's just justification for it. I'm just gonna keep spending and not worry about what I'm doing, because technically it's free. It's this, it's that. Like, just putting it in that head and in that context.
the other thing that's really interesting to me, because I did look it up while we were recording this, and the first couple of posts that come up do say it's a little derogatory in terms of this whole concept that girls are not good at math,
And
girls are
that's
not good
that's I
at
didn't like the
budgeting.
title. I agree with you there,
So,
brother.
well, I'm surprised that it would be as popular as it is on TikTok,
That's the other problem.
especially with millennials,
Mm-hmm.
who millennials primarily are driving cancel culture. And now they're talking about girl math. Why do I feel like I'm in the twilight zone?
It's like a false empowerment where it's like, you know what, I'm, like, it's okay for me because I'm a girl, kind of thing, right? That thought process. I did ask I asked my daughter, and it's like, hey, have you heard this? And please don't look it up if you haven't, and stuff like that. So she hadn't heard it. But I did
Good.
ask my best friend's daughter, who's in college, and I said, did you hear this? And she gave the smirk and the evil eye. I was like, oh, she's living those principles, bro. She's living those principles. Run
Yeah,
away,
the
run away.
the other the other thing it kind of reminds me of, when I started law school. I went to law school in Birmingham, Alabama. And one of the things that we thought would be fun to do would be and at this point, I'm in law school in the late 90s.
Yep.
And before cancel culture really existed. And so we thought, is there a way that we can make the argument that baseball and football and some of these sports, could we make an argument to basically cancel culture football and baseball? Now, that said, I'm a huge football fan and I
Yep,
love going to
gotcha.
baseball games.
Yep,
So
yep.
we just kind of were discussing this one night for fun, but it almost sounds like that's what this movement is a movement, is almost a parody
Yeah. That's
of
what it felt like.
budgeting.
Yeah. That's
And
what it felt like.
now
I
I'm
totally
upset.
agree. It's a
Now I'm
parody.
upset that now I'm upset that we didn't think of it.
Yeah. Well, we got to think about guy math. What's the guy math look like? I mean, might as well understand that. That'll be our next episode. Is the what's guy math, and unfortunately, it would be a 2-minute episode because we I think
yeah, guy math.
I mean, we would justify toys. I would imagine there would be toys.
I think guy math would be anything under $5 costs less than $5.
Okay.
Anything bought with a gift card spends the money on the gift card.
No,
If you
you're
buy
not getting
something
it.
and return it, you've only gotten free rent.
You got a rental. That's called a rental.
Right. Events or concerts paid a long time ago means you budgeted well for when you bought them.
For when you bought it, exactly.
Wow. Okay. Well,
You're welcome.
I'm gonna put this episode out of its misery before I lose more brain
You're
cells.
welcome to the listeners and to the host that this is, but here's the thing. A lot of this advice that's out there, that's a lot of advice like this out there. Let me just preface that because
Wow.
it's amazing. And I get it. We all have our moments where it's like, hey, I need to justify this. Is it a need and a want? It's that need and want debate. And we're trying to like, food is important. We need to eat it, but but we still need to spend money, and there needs to be something budgeted for those things.
I mean,
because it's a necessity doesn't make it free. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, and you can justify anything. I mean, that dining room table that I just picked up, is it a need or a want? Well, when you really come down to it, it's a want. Although if you want me to justify it as a need, the old one was 30 years old. We're entertaining more and we don't have room for the people that we're entertaining. The chairs that are with that old dining room table, one of them, the wheel falls off all the time. So people that come over to
Okay.
sit at that table could get hurt. So I could justify anything. I mean,
Absolutely.
heck, I'm an attorney. I argue a specific point of view as my career. So, but I know I think you kind of hit on it. What's a need? What's a want? How do we justify it? We can pretty much justify anything we want.
Well, there you go, my friend. You have the power and the knowledge. Go forth and break your brain. I'm glad I broke your brain today. This was good.
So, as we kind of wrap up this episode, again, go visit Magic Mind if you want to. If you listen to this episode and you're like, "What?" Go take a Magic Mind, and maybe that'll help you focus a little bit more, and
It will
maybe
keep you
understand.
focused and keep you budgeting away
Yeah.
from,
Again,
from
it's
this logic.
magicmind.com/crushdebt, and then you use our code, which is crushdebt. Also, I threw a cheap plug in there for the Patreon page because if you spend less than $5 on our Patreon page,
It's free.
apparently it's free.
It's free, buddy. I like it.
Or imagine if you buy a gift card and then use the gift card to do a $5 donation on Patreon. It's doubly free.
I would think though, it's if you're a Patreon, you are investing in yourself.
There you go.
That's how I would look at it. So there's a good investment there.
Although I'm kind of scared, but apparently girl math does help you have more money at the end of the month than month at the end of the money. I don't know how, but apparently
on paper,
it does.
Maybe on paper it does.
On paper.
But yes, I would agree with you there, buddy. Please, just your feedback and your comments, guys. This episode was meant to really get you guys, everybody's scratching their head and saying, how does this work? I'd be curious. There's people who support this and say, yes, this makes sense. I would love to hear. Love to hear comments in regards to that. So again, let us know what you think on the episode and the girl math. I like it.
Yeah. So that'll do it for this week's episode of the Crushing Debt podcast. And we look forward to talking to you in next week's episode, hopefully where my brain doesn't hurt nearly as much as it does right now.
We'll be gentle. We'll go back to bankruptcy, buddy. Don't worry.
Okay. Thanks.